Yo, hello and welcome to Bites of Reiki. I'm Dan and I made this channel to explore different topics and aspects of the practice of Reiki. Today I want to start with the most asked question I get about Reiki, and that is what it is. What is Reiki? I think the best way to answer that question is to first take a look at its history. I know, a history lesson, but don't worry, I'll try to make this short. So, Reiki is a fairly new practice. And I think that when people think of woo-woo things, when people think of alternate healing, alternate methods of healing that are not hugely scientifically recognized or studied, I think a lot of people think of them as dating back to their origins, dating back to the time of our ancestors, or as scholars might say, the time of antiquity. Reiki is not like that. Reiki was founded about 100 years ago in 1922 by a man named Mikao Usui. Usui was a doctor, just a regular guy for most of his life. But one day he climbed a mountain north of Kyoto called Kuramayama, and well, the way my master told me was he stayed up there for 7 days and fasted, eating, drinking, that kind of thing. And towards the end, he received, got in tune with, communed with, whatever you want to say, Reiki. And he received not just the ability to use it, but the ability to teach it as well. He went back to Kyoto. He started a practice. He taught 22 masters. And from what I understand, the majority of what they were doing was hands-on healing. Hands-on healing is what most of you may already know about Reiki. It's sort of our forward-facing feature, you know. You may have heard of people working in hospitals or working in clinics doing hands-on healing. In that case, a person sort of attunes themselves to Reiki or meditates in a way I imagine that's very similar to what Usui did up on Mount Kyoto, and you use your hands to bring that to other people, right? Chujiro Hayashi was also a doctor, and he learned Reiki under Usui. He was very interested in bringing Reiki into the medical field and worked to do that along with teaching another generation of Reiki practitioners. One of the people he taught was someone I think is, to the West, the most important figure in the history of Reiki, and that's Hawayo Takata. Hawayo Takata came to Hawaii and began teaching and practicing Reiki there in like the late 1930s. Now, if you're familiar with history, you know that for Japanese people, the time surrounding the late 1930s and the mid 1940s was a little contentious, right, to say the least. So Hawayo, and what's so important that she did is she took Reiki and she applied it to Western thought and brought into Reiki Western words, Western principles, Western ideas, and sort of merged them together. One of the things she said, and I'm tempted to believe, is that Jesus Christ and his disciples, when they are recorded in texts saying that they laid on hands, she is known to have said that that is what Reiki practitioners are doing. They're doing the same thing. I believe, given her efforts to do that considering during World War II, most things that were Japanese were just seen with contention and suspicion and paranoia, I really believe it was Takata's efforts to westernize Reiki that allowed it to survive in the West and wasn't thrown out. Takata taught a woman named Iris Ichikuro, who was her cousin. And she's also very important for the West, and I'll tell you why. Prior to Iris, Hayashi, Usui, they all charge $10,000 to learn Reiki. Yeah, so that kind of kept it as like an elitist practice. Iris Ichikuro was responsible for taking the pricing of Reiki and making it more affordable so that everybody had an opportunity to practice it and teach it. So she was very important for Reiki as well because, you know, now practitioners have lower prices than that for learning and teaching. My pricing, I think I get from Iris. I was taught by my master to have a sliding scale, and free sessions are great to do as well. So it's never been huge about the money for me. And so I view myself as the lineage from Iris, as I think many people do owe the lineage of learning Reiki to Ichikuro. So that's the history of it. What is it? To really understand it, I think you need to take the two symbols, the kanji symbols for Reiki, Rei and Ki, and look at them separately and then link them together. So I'll start with the one that probably most people have heard of coming into the video, which is Ki. Ki is, we don't have a lot of words for it in the West, but one term it would be vital, vitality, vital essence, the energy, the boost of power that comes to you with self-confidence and the knowledge of, you know, things like doing your best or that you're going to do what is necessary for the moment, being in the moment, being in tune. Times where you've sat in nature and felt like you were one with it, despite all of the worried thoughts in your head. Moments with athletes. I mean, you definitely know when an athlete has the Ki and he's going against people who might not. I think anyone who likes any sport can think of someone right off the top of their head who has the mojo and uses it to succeed, you know? So the Ki itself is not good or bad. It is simply energy, vitality, essence that we can all have and we can all use. Can we use it creatively and helpfully? Sure, but a person who can use their Ki to punch through some boards at a karate presentation can also use them to punch through someone's head who in a not nice fashion, you know? So Ki itself is that type of energy. And I hope to go into more detail about what Ki is in later videos. But for now, we'll move on to Rei. Rei is a fairly complicated symbol. It contains various words, and so the concept is rather far-reaching. Rei, in the case of Reiki, in the conjugation with Ki, tends to mean true, or ultimate, or objectively beneficial, shall we say. Rei is, to those of you who are familiar with Taoism, Rei is the way. Rei is the right action, you know? And the thing about Rei that is so humbling for me is to understand that for myself, I may not know the way, but through attuning myself to Rei in the Rei Ki, I can align myself with the way. But the only way you're gonna be able to do that is sometimes giving up what you think is the right thing, right? So when you're using your hands to transfer Reiki to another person, you've got to understand that, you know, if you're treating a sprained ankle, they may not start doing jumping jacks as soon as you get up, because that may not, there may be a lesson that they need to learn in the time that they're healing. And that's not even from a higher power or anything. Like, sometimes people make mistakes. In order to not make them again, you need to learn how not to make them again. And the pain can be helpful for that, although Reiki can relieve the pain, you know? So yeah, so those are aspects of Rei. I think that most people who are here, who are curious looking at this video, can agree that there is such a thing as good, right? As healing, as getting better. Ray helps us, Ray is the way that helps us see and tune into that better for us if we can't find it for ourselves. And of course, this is another topic that I would love to make another, possibly several videos on. So I hope that that was helpful. This is my first video. I'm totally planning on making more. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section for right now. I do plan on getting an email up and running for the channel. If there are more questions that come in, if you want to, send me something privately, that's fine. So yeah, thank you, and thanks for watching. Have a good one.